Good morning, Room 7 families. This is Mrs. Owen. I wanted to say hi to all of you and that I miss you. Just kind of quickly going over the review for Unit 6. And these are usually what the tests follow pretty closely to, although there definitely are some changes as some teachers have redone the test to reflect our new grading system. So on this page, students will count the bugs, looking for bugs with stripes, spots, or with a solid color. In their math books, the pictures would be in color, so much easier to see. They're using circle drawings to tally how many of each one, and then putting the total amount over here, and then using that information, that data, to answer the questions down below. Same thing on this page. They're going to count the fruit, the bananas, the apples, bananas, and oranges, making circle drawings for each one, and then recording the total, and then using that information to answer the questions down below. So here's where we have some of our story problems. It does say for each one to use comparison bars. Even for this one, they do want them to use comparison bars. So I always tell the kids to make sure they're doing their comparison bars nice and large so that they can fit the information inside. And so I usually make a nice big rectangle up at the top, and then the other two are about half the size. Another rectangle, and then a smaller circle. I always have the kids really read through and think about word choices. So they have Rico sees 5 more cats than dogs. He sees 7 dogs. How many cats does he see? So it's important to see what they're asking for the question. And I always tell the kids to look for the more or fewer numbers. So this one says 5 more. I always tell them this is our more or fewer circle. Anytime a number is associated with more or fewer, that's where we want to be able to put that number. So right away, I'm going to put the 5 over here. And then I'm looking at which one is going to get the bigger rectangle. Well, it says Rico sees more cats than dogs. So cats needs to get that large rectangle, which would put dogs down here. And now it's just figuring out where I'm going to put that next number. I already have the first number from the equation. Now I need the second number from the equation, which is the 7 dogs. So that's going to go down here. When we have comparison bars like this, it's kind of like the math mountains where it's the total and the 2 parts. So when you have the 2 parts, the best solution is to add those 2 to get your final total, which will go here. And of course, the label would be cats. For other comparison bars, these are like an older page that we had from before. This one would be more of, I'm just making sure. I want to find one that's a little bit different. So I'm going to start with my comparison bars and make them nice and big again. Zach scores 5 goals. John scores 8 goals. How many more goals does John score than Zach? So there's my how many more, which means this is my unknown number. So now I'm looking at Zach and John. Well, John scored more, so he gets the big rectangle. Zach's going to come down here. And then I'm just plugging in the numbers that I know. So I know that Zach had 5. I know that John has 8. So now this problem, and this is a page that we have done in class before. So now I have a total and one of the parts. So this can be done in a couple different ways. We can do 8 minus 5 and then get my answer of 3. Or some students like to think of it as 5 plus blank equals 8. The problem some students have sometimes is they just see the numbers and they right away want to just put anything in here. I always tell them to look for that missing number. 3 would be my total, and I'm talking about goals. Again, I do always read word problems to the kids. So that kind of gives a little bit of a helping hand on using those comparison bars, which definitely goes through other grade levels as well. They definitely will see it again in 2nd grade. So then they're going to have another comparison bar here and here. They do want them to draw it even for number 12, but this time they're going to circle the answer as well as filling out their comparison bars. Over here, they give the students some data about a class field trip, how many kids wanted to go to the park, how many kids wanted to go to the zoo, and how many kids wanted to go to the museum. They have to write 2 questions and answer the questions. So some question ideas could be, how many kids chose blank? So how many kids chose the park? How many kids chose the zoo? And then they can just write the answer. Another one could be, how many more blank votes than blank? So if I'm looking at the problems, I might say, because I can see that zoo has more than the other ones, I can say how many more chose zoo than the museum. Or I could do the opposite and do the fewer, how many chose park, how many fewer votes for park than for the zoo, that kind of thing. They could also do questions like, how many votes altogether. The important thing is that they write the question and then also put the answer underneath. And if they need extra space, they can always write in kind of those little empty spaces, or maybe even write a little bit smaller, because I know that some of them have more elaborate questions than others. Hopefully this makes sense. If you have any questions or need any help, please don't hesitate to email. Please tell your students that I said hello. Even have them listen to the video with you. I do miss all of them. They are a great group of kids, and I hope that you guys are all staying safe, keeping occupied. There's plenty of great resources that I put on the emails for things that keep you occupied. Go Noodle has a lot of not just movement activities, but even things that they can do, like making things, making like the fortune tellers, that kind of thing. Even just playing catch with your child if you're going in the backyard or in the house. Get a small stuffed animal and play a game of catch. Play some board games. Have some family time, that type of thing. Take care, everyone, and goodbye.